Hi guys, my name is MYONNA, and today I'm going to be doing my mega freak out. Listen, this corset is tight. Okay, it is tight. Anyways, so I'm going to be doing my mid-year freak out. I say this every year, but the mid-year freak out tag is my favorite tag to do. But before we get started with this video is sponsored by Book of the Month. Book of the Month is a super popular, fast, online growing book service for readers. Their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and to help readers discover new books. Their team vets hundreds of books each month and gives readers a choice from a curated selection of new and early release titles that you can spend more time reading and less time researching. Book of the Month is risk-free. You can skip any month at any time and you will not be charged. They have the best new hardcover fiction. You can get your first book for $9.99 using the code MYONNA, and I will be leaving the link down in the description. So let's talk about the books for this month because I actually am so excited. This month's picks are like all so amazing. The first book we have is Instructions for Dancing, and this is Nicola Yoon's new release. This book is young adult. Thanks to a life-changing book, a girl finds love, renewed purpose on the dance floor after parents divorce. And Nicola Yoon is a three-peat author. So this one is contemporary fiction called Sky Falling. They say don't put all of your eggs in one basket. But what they never mention is what you do when an egg comes walking you back into your life. Okay, this sounds really good. So this one is a fantasy and it is an early release. And it's called Half Sick of Shadows. It is an epic feminist retelling of an Arthurian legend. Sometimes you need a crystal ball to crack a glass ceiling. And this one actually sounds really interesting too. The next book is The Maidens, and this one is a thriller, and I've actually already read this book. This is a 5-star read for me. I have been waiting to see if Book of the Month is gonna wait this their the month pick because this book does not come out until June 15th, and this one is a dark academia thriller. And then we have Malibu Rising, which is a historical, a three-peat author. This rollicking power keg of a novel follows the infamous Riva siblings over their course of one life-changing night. So yeah, thank you once again to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. I will be leaving a link to Book of the Month as well as my code in the description box. So now we're going to talk about my mid-year freak out tag. So this year, as of right now, I've read 113 books. Well, yeah, I've had a really good reading year. I've had a lot of 5 stars. I've been rating things a lot better. My reading has been picking up. I've been reading more diversely. I have been reading series better. I just feel like all around this year has been a really good reading year for me. I'm not going to hold up any of the books. I feel like I move too quick and something gonna pop, and it might be my rib actually. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2021, and I have a list. Okay, so I have Catherine House, I have Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires, I have The Maidens, which I talked about earlier in my Book of the Month portion, Emma, which is the classic, It's How You Lose the Time War, Final Girl Support Group, which doesn't come out until July. I read it as an ARC, and Ace of Spades, which is up there. These were all really great books, okay? Some of these are actually 4-star reads. Like, I'm pretty sure Catherine House and It's How You Lose the Time War are both 4-star reads, but they're like 4.57 or something like that. Like, something like they're like almost 5 stars, but like something is just like, they're not really. Next question is the best sequel you've read in so far in 2021, and I'm gonna have to say Murderbot Diaries. I actually haven't really read that many sequels this year. I haven't read any good sequels because all the sequels I have read, like, I've been getting better at reading sequels, but I didn't say I was the best. I read The Bone Crier's Dawn, and that was meh. I read Crown of Forgotten Bones, and that was a 2-star read. Like, I feel like all the sequels I've read this year, like, that's the only downfall of this year. Like, all the books I've been reading were great, but then when I get into the sequels, I'm like, So, next question is new release you haven't read yet but want to. And to be honest, I am amazing at reading new releases. Like, I will pat myself on the back for that. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, I am amazing at reading new releases. The only new release I haven't read this year is Chain of Iron, and that's because I just decided I'm gonna wait until next year to read that book because apparently the ending is really good and it's the final book, and I'm sorry, a girl. I want to read it then. I usually read new releases the month they come out. If they come out like the end of the month, then I read them like the next month. So question number 4 is a new release for the second half of the year, and I have Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson, which I do not remember about, but Margaret Rogerson, I have this rule, and I have to like 3 of your books separately, like they can't be in the same series for me to call you my favorite author. Holly Black is not my favorite author. She wrote my favorite series, but she's not my favorite author. I have to give 5 stars to 3 different books because I'm sorry, but I have to be picky with, you have to be picky with who you call your favorite authors these days, and this is a rule I've had for like the longest time on BookTube, and I've yet to have a favorite author, surprisingly. So Margaret Rogerson is 1 year away from becoming my favorite author, which is very funny because she writes a book once every 2 years, so, or every other year, I guess. So yeah, so then we have This Poison Heart, and this one is a Secret Garden retelling, and the black character's the main character is black, and it's also LGBT. And then I have The Last Graduate, which is a sequel to The Education, which I have high hopes for The Last Graduate, but I don't think it's gonna let me down. Like, Naomi Novik doesn't seem like that kind of author where you're just sitting there and you're like, you know. I have Kingdom of the Curse, which, first of all, Kingdom of the Wicked is a sequel to the Kingdom of the Wicked. I have a lot of like sequels on the latter half of the year. So the Kingdom of the Wicked was okay. I pretty much liked it for the banter. Like, everybody knows Carrie Monaskal cannot write to save her life. She's not a good writer. Her plots are meh. Her romance are meh, but her banter, she's great at that. So I want to read Kingdom of the Curse. I have Hawthorne Legacy, which I'm a bit iffy about Hawthorne Legacy because I just feel like the Inheritance games, I feel like that book needed to be a standalone. And also, when I read the author's other books, they were the exact same plot as the Inheritance games. So I'm a bit worried about the Hawthorne Legacy, but I don't have high expectations for it, which can only really do me justice because I could either like it and be like, oh wow, like, you know, because my expectations are so low, or it doesn't meet my expectations and I don't care because I didn't have any for them. So it's a win-win for me. Kind of like what you would do with men, to be honest. So then I have Not Your Average Hot Guy, and this one is like a devil romance story, and this one it's a romance book, and I'm really excited for that. I have Well Matched, which is the 3rd book in Well Matched. I haven't read the 2nd book. I really don't care to. The romance in Well Matched, I've been waiting for this since I've read Well Met. The year, like, I've been waiting for this. I'm gonna skip the 2nd book. I don't care about the 2nd book. Who cares? I want Well Matched right now. It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This one's supposed to be like Schitt's Creek, which I love Schitt's Creek. Everyone loves Schitt's Creek. Like, it's a good show. The Heart Principle, which I have an arc for. Actually, hopefully by the time that you see this, I've already read and gave the book its 5 stars as it deserves. Me and Miriam, everybody reading this book, so yeah. I have Red Wolf, which is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. I am obsessed with the Little Red Riding Hood. Like, Little Red Riding Hood is literally one of my favorite. I'm obsessed with fairy tales, so I have a lot of favorite fairy tales like Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White, Rapunzel, The Little Mermaid, Hansel and Gretel. Every retelling so far that like is popular pretty much is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I'm like, where are all the other fairy tales? There's so many fairy tales that are already dark. Have you guys never read the German version of Cinderella? The Brothers Grimm version of Cinderella? There are so many fantasies that are already dark and people are taking Beauty and the Beast, and it's like, I have a special hatred in my heart for Beauty and the Beast because of the fact that I have not. Peter Pan, you guys know, like, if you know me and you see my classic collection, you know I am obsessed with Peter Pan. You could take Peter Pan, the fact that there's not a lot of Peter Pan's retellings where Peter Pan is evil. Peter Pan is the villain. That's why I love Peter Pan. Like, everyone paints him as like the hero in the movies and the Disney movies and stuff, but if you really even look at the movies, Peter Pan is the villain. Okay, Peter Pan is the villain. The material is right there. The material is right there, and you're writing about Beauty and the Beast. And I have the dating playlist, which I do have the first book. I have the first book somewhere. I have the first book somewhere. I haven't read the first book yet. I am gonna read it so I can get like a gist of the book, but I'm really excited for the dating playlist. Okay, I'm not really, I haven't heard too many good things about the first book, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really excited for the dating playlist. And then also Dark Rise by C.S. Picot. I don't know why I want to read this book. Like, I've had this book in my want to read for years now. Like, my 2021 want to read for years now. Because if you guys don't know, I have my anticipated releases set up years before. Like, I have my 2023 anticipated releases already set up on Goodreads. I'm really good with keeping up with anticipated releases. I'm good with keeping up with new releases. Like, I'm sorry, what can I say? If I told you I was a Virgo, I think that would tell you everything you need to know. So the next question, number 5, finally moving on. The biggest disappointment, other than myself, I would have to say Bone Crier's Dawn, which I talked about earlier. Ugh, that was such a letdown. It was basically a repeat of the same things that was happening in the first book. And it took the love triangle thing, and I don't think it went like the way it could have went. And I just feel like it just was like, it didn't really need to be a sequel. It could have just been a standalone. Like, I feel like a lot of authors these times, they see an opportunity to make more money and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. But like, some of these books really could just be a standalone. Like, y'all need to learn from Margaret Rogerson. I have Realmbreaker, which is 2 out of 5 stars. The book itself was just, it was not good. There wasn't any characters I cared about. The world building was pretty good, yeah. The plot barely was there. There was no romance. Not saying there needs to be any romance in the book for me to read it, or any romance period, but it didn't have any characters, barely had a plot, didn't have any romance, and all it had was world building. Like, no, it wasn't, you know. And then I have Crown of Good and Bones, which I could go on a rant for all day. If you want to know my thoughts on that, I have a Goodreads review for it. Yes, From Blood and Ash was my favorite book of last year. It was my favorite book of last year. It still is. Like, I have a special edition of From Blood and Ash coming in from Aluminum Crate. Like, I am so excited. It was disappointing. I'm sorry. And I really hope that Armor Child gets her stuff together, because I'm not going to continue on with the series. Like, I'm sorry. You cannot. I'm not. Just because I like something doesn't mean I'm going to keep suffering through it just because no. Biggest surprise. Finley Donovan is killing it. I was not expecting to love that book. It's just like a cozy thriller. I don't even want to keep calling it cozy, because you think of cozy mysteries, you're like, oh, cute, fun. It is cute, it is fun, but it's so much more than that. It's one of my favorite books of this year. I didn't put it in my list of my favorite books this year, but it is. I gave it a 5 out of 5. Like, it's one of my favorite books this year. I cannot wait for the sequel next year. The ending to Finley Donovan is killing it. It's basically about this woman who is a writer, and she's not really like that popular. One day she's a Panera Bread talking like her publisher or her rep, and she's describing her book, but it sounds like she's trying to murder someone, and like to other people's knowledge, like, it doesn't really sound like a book. And so she goes outside and there's a note on her car, and is asking someone to kill her husband because they think that Finley Donovan is a hitman. Then we have Dolores Claiborne, because I never thought I would like a Stephen King book. It's not like amazing, like it's not like the best thing I've ever read, but I still gave it 4 stars. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, when I look back on like the long run, I gave that book 4 stars, but then I think about it, I'm like, nah, that's like a 3-star book. Like, but Dolores Claiborne was a 4-star book, and it might be because it was a good for her book, but I genuinely really like that book. And then I also have the Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires, which I talked about earlier. I have read the Grady Hendrix book. I read Horror Store. I own My Best Friend's Exorcism, but I've only read Horror Store. So I've read 3 Grady Hendrix books. So I can say Grady Hendrix, I didn't give Horror Store 5 stars, but I can say Grady Hendrix is like an author that like I really do enjoy. Like, I've already read the Final Girl Support Group. I cannot wait to see what he does next year. Like, I need to know what he's, I need to know what he's doing next year. I am going to be reading his, one of his books, like I Sold My Soul, whatever. I'm going to be reading that because I really do like Grady Hendrix as an author. And then we have The Maidens, which I did not think I was going to like this, because I read The Silent Patient in one of my videos and I DNF'd it. And I was like, no. And then, so I wasn't really expecting to like this book. And then I thought I wasn't going to like The Maidens in general, just because I thought I knew what was going to happen in this book. And my favorite thing is when I think I know what's going to happen and it doesn't happen. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. So I really messed with this book. I audibly gasped out loud when I was reading this book. I barely ever do that. Yeah, this was a good book. And then I also have Catherine House, which I don't know why I put that here, because like it's a Dark Academia. Like, I knew I was gonna like it. Like, there's no Dark Academia out here I don't think I'm gonna like. I don't know. I was just adding stuff to the list when I put that there, because I knew I was gonna like that. Number 7, favorite new author or new to you, I'll have to say Emily and Henry. I really mess with people who meet on vacation. I have Beach Read on my TBR for June. And she also, I realized I own another book by her, When the Sky Fell on Splendor. That was one of my anticipated releases of, I think, like 2019. I never got to it, and it was like it's like a YA sci-fi book. I started but I never finished it. And then one day I was looking at Emily Henry's Goodreads and I was like, she actually has a few popular books that I didn't know about, but I hope she keeps on with this romance train because I'm really messing with the covers that she has. I'm sorry. I need to know. My biggest issue is when I'm reading a new release immediately, and then I want the book that's coming out the following year out like the next day. Like as soon as I finish the book, I'm like, okay, well, let's get the title to the next book. Let's get the cover. Let's get the description. Let's get the date. And it's like you really gotta wait months for that. Like I'm gonna have to wait until like probably December to know that. But I want to know it now. I want to know what she's writing now. And then Grady Hendrix, as I said, newest fictional crush, and I would have to say Murderbot, yeah, in AI, yeah, and Kelsier from Mistborn. Oh my gosh, I loved him. And if you read the Mistborn trilogy, I read the entire trilogy. If you read the trilogy, then you know my dilemma. That's all I have to say. Newest favorite character, and now I have to be Emma Woodhouse. She is handsome, clever, and rich. I'm sorry, like that is just like the fact that that's like the best open line to a book ever. I'm sorry. I've watched Emma twice. I'm about to watch it 18 more times in June. I'm gonna reread it. I have like 3 editions of Emma. Like I am just obsessed with Emma Woodhouse and like everything that she is. And the fact that she was played by Anya Taylor-Joy, I really mess with Anya Taylor-Joy. I love her as an actress. It took me a while to realize that, but she's in a lot of my favorite things, which everything that she's in actually just blanked out of my mind. But I really mess with her. I'm really excited to see her movie Last Night in Soho that's coming out in like, you know, the later half of this year. I really love Anya. Okay, book that made you cry. I don't have an answer for this. I do cry easily when it comes to books, movies, and TV shows because I don't really cry in real life, to be honest. I really don't cry. Like sometimes I have to like listen to sad music to force myself to get it out because I'm like, okay girl, you've been, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, I don't cry, I don't have emotions, but I genuinely don't cry. So you know, childhood trauma. I usually cry a lot when I read, so the fact that I haven't cried when I read so far, but I also like I've been staying away from books that I think is gonna make me cry. Like I haven't read Beach Read. I'm sorry. I haven't read The House in the Cerulean Sea. I don't really want to happy cry right now. I don't want to cry. And a book that made you happy, and then I'll have to say Emma, People We Meet on Vacation, Since You've Been Gone, and Starry Eyes. Yeah, as y'all know, I got into my YA contemporary era this year. And so the next question is, well, number 12, most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. So my edition of Emma, I have a special edition. I'll put a picture up. Like I said, I'm too lazy to get up. So, and plus it's really, I have a lot of books, so it's really deep in the stack. But I have this edition of Emma. I'm gonna put up all the pictures of the book. Fate of the Fallen, which is like, the cover actually is not anything special, but I am absolutely obsessed with the cover. I do not know why, but and then the sequel cover, I am obsessed, and I cannot tell you why I'm obsessed with the cover to this book. Blood of an Exile, which I actually have right here, and this one's it's like a dragon book, but this is the UK cover. I bought both UK covers for this book and the second book. I'm gonna be buying it for the third book because Book Depository is my bestie. Book Depository is my bestie, and I think this cover is so beautiful compared to the US cover. This cover is beautiful. I also would say like all of my classics, like the classics I just bought, I'm actually gonna show these in a haul, which would be like my next video after this, but I'll just show you guys really fast. So all of my classics in general, like I have a Penguin, I have the Penguin Black Spine collection, I have Oxford classics, I have so many different kinds of classics. I am going to be doing my classic collection this month, so be on the lookout for that. But I will have to say my Penguin English Library classic. So I'm gonna do these really fast. So I have Emma and Jane Eyre. I have Pride and Prejudice and Wuthering Heights. The Picture of Dorian Gray and Persuasion, which I'm so excited to get to Persuasion. Daisy Miller and The Turning of the Screw, and Northanger Abbey. Okay, and the final question is, what book do you need to read by the end of the year? And that would be my list, immediate TBR list. So on my on my immediate TBR, which is not really immediate. I actually don't know why I called it that. It's really just my TBR that I want to get to, like all the books I want to get to before the end of the year. And I'm actually doing so good so far. I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and one of these is like a complete series. So I technically read 9, and so I have These Violent Delights, The Burning God, which I have this month, Malice, The Wicker King, The Bone Ship, Legendborn, Blood of the Exile, Ashes of the Sun, both I have this month. Dune, The Thousand Lives of Adder, The Unspoken Name, The Blade Itself, Outlander, I have this month, and Warbreaker, I have this month. So hopefully I can, you know, just knock some books out for the books I want to read for the rest of the year. Yeah, that'll be so good. That'll be so good. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you made it all the way to the end, leave a bunny emoji. And I'll see you guys in the next one.